I am live and I got my trusty little light bulb lamp. Good morning, everyone. Vidette Mayor here. The sunset here, I do these lives at 4 o'clock, and the sunset yesterday was at 4:24 p.m. It's getting so dark so early. We still have 40 days or so until until the solstice, to the shortest day of the year. So it's going to be like 3 o'clock or something. I don't know how fast it compresses, but it's getting really dark really early here. The dogs are farting around right next to me. Hopefully, they will behave a little bit. So, welcome to our first peace talks after the opening of our 1111 portal. For those of you who were on the 1111 Supernal Channel session that we did, there were 4 of us that participated in that on Friday, my Friday night, and it was early Saturday morning for our friend Sam, who was joining from Australia, and then we had Canada and Hawaii also. So we had like the whole span of the globe, as well as the whole span of the 1111 portal. We had people like right in the beginning, in the morning of their 1111 portal, and those on the other side of it. And I was right in the evening of it. So it was kind of this like metaphoric whole grid of supernal channels coming together to pull in a message for these next 40 days. So the title for today is the 40-day flood, and there's a lot of metaphors that just, quite frankly, just started coming to me as I got prepared to go live for this Peace Talks. I've been sitting with what came through on that session over the last couple of days, because there were some really good nuggets. And I also feel like some of those nuggets are going to continue to go deeper. So if you don't know what I'm referring to, is I wanted to bring together. I come in on these peace talks and open up my supernal channel, my intuition, my communication channel to my guides, and pull in information for these messages. And really, it has to do with the energies that we're in. These energies have been very palpable, and I have over time just become really connected to energy, and being able to translate the energy into kind of practical terms, how it's showing up. I don't know if terms is the word, but how it shows up in my own life, how it translates to reality. And I've gotten pretty good at working with these energies in order to shift them from energy into physical reality. And this supernal channel of mine has become my lifeline. And the last peace talks I did, the title was Mayday. There's many of us that are feeling like we're kind of floating, lost in between worlds. My brain's exploding with all the different directions I want to go right now, but we're lost between worlds. And when we are feeling lost in life, when we're feeling lost in what do I do, and we're in the unknown, our supernal channel is our lifeline. That is where we connect in to our higher, I don't even want to say our higher self, because it goes way, way beyond that. It goes into our source. And we can pull information and data from the source, which is infinite in its wisdom, and ask for direction. In order for us to be there, we have to be in a place of peace to keep that channel completely free of distortions, because any kind of interference of any energy, of any anything in the lower realms will distort that information, and then it comes into our mind and our brain, and we start to behave off kilter of what the supernal channel is really directing us to do. Priya, can you please stop licking? So what I wanted to do for the 1111 portal, there are so many people that were doing different, events, channels, and all of that. And I'm getting, please stop. I'm really starting to, don't know if frustrated is the word, but I'm kind of over, I'm going to be very bold here. I'm kind of over this idea that there are these channels that know everything, and we go to those channels in order to see what they have to say in these energies. I've never really fully supported that and never really wanted to be that, because quite frankly, every single one of us has our own channel. And if we aren't tapping into it ourselves, we are relying on someone else's channel who pulls in very unique perspectives to them, but they leave out your personal perspective. So my goal, it's not even my goal, but I know my mission has become more and more clear, is helping others to tap into their own and trust their own supernal channels. So what I wanted to do on Friday is not be the, try to be a guru that brings in this profound message, but to start bringing people together to open up their supernal channels, bring us all together, because where two or more are gathered, there I am. Which means when two or more I am presences, unique expressions of the source of creator comes together, not only do I have my supernal channel that just is a container for universal wisdom that is unique to my perspective of physical life, spiritual life through my physical body, but so is someone else is bringing their infinite supernal channel in, and someone else is coming in. And when we form a circle, our container receptivity of data, of wisdom, of divine knowledge is so much greater. And that is how we're supposed to do things anyway, communally. Yes, we are supposed to create a sustainable world and a sustainable life in a village, in community, but spiritually we are too. Because when I have my own perspective and you have your perspective over here, and there's a perspective over here, and now we have a well-rounded perspective of how we're trying to piece this reality together. So we did that in such a beautiful circle on Friday. We brought our these messages forward, and what is going to happen for the next 40 days, the messages were in intentionally brought into what do we have to know for these next 40 days. So that message, it was a 90-minute session. I did put that in our, for this community, I have a space, especially for us. It's called Storehouse Social. If you are here and you're not already a part of it, I invite you to just send me a message. You can email me at connect@videttemeyer.com, and I'll send you the link to join us. But I put that session in our private space because it just felt intimate, and I wanted it to be for our community only, not to keep information from anyone, but to keep the conversation going and have it be in a safe place that our community feels safe saying, here's what came to me when I watched it. When I saw that, that symbol that popped out on the session, here's my perspective. As we get better and better and more comfortable, or as we practice more and more with trusting our supernal channel, we get there only by sharing what comes through our supernal channel. And many times it's a little vulnerable to do so out in public, because we're building trust. We don't know exactly what comes through. Like, I have this thought, but I don't know if it means anything, but it means something to the puzzle. So I wanted to keep it somewhat intimate to give us an opportunity as a community to keep building on the initial session, so that we can continue to pull in from all of our supernal channels information, data, connecting dots to help us ride out this 40-day flood. So I want to kind of give you a metaphor here. And if you remember the story of Noah, when I'm not like super versed on the Bible, but I kind of know overall stories. But Noah started getting through his supernal channel. Was it Noah? Yeah, Noah did the ark, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, I was like, nah. I got myself nervous. But Noah, he started getting through his supernal channel messages to build an ark, and he had no idea what that ark was for. He didn't know why he had to build it. He didn't know what the purpose was, but he trusted the messages so much and that were coming through his heart. His, the supernal channel comes through and expresses in the heart, and he had such a love of and an understanding of his spiritual self that he built an ark. His kids kind of walked away from him. They were embarrassed. They couldn't explain why their dad was building this big boat in the front yard, so to speak. And his village made fun of him, but he built an ark. And as we know the story, out of nowhere, torrential rains, flooding, and for 40 days, he stayed afloat on top of this tsunami of water with all of the animals, right? So he saved, he saved people, he saved animals, he saved beings. So whatever metaphor that story holds for you, or the truth of it, or whatever, the story, the moral of the story is he trusted. He took action on what was coming through without not without having evidence, not waiting for evidence. He just did it. This is what we are at this stage of this ascension process. We are being flooded with energies. On the 1111 portal, we had two, I think actually three solar flares that came through. We had I think it was minor and two moderate ones, if I'm not mistaken. And this is just the beginning. The 1111 portal is one of the most intensive and one of the most important portals that open up during what I'll say our linear year. This is when the veil between the spiritual world and the physical world is at its thinnest. And it continues and it stays open through December 21st, the solstice. It's in this time that the veil is very thin. It's in this time that when we get these energies coming through, our magnetosphere is extremely compromised, and we bring in highly potent energy that then comes into our DNA, and then it expands our consciousness. It expands our intelligence. It expands our ability to communicate through the supernal channel. This is the time that we have got to really trust what is coming through. So we opened up, and I say we, the four of us that were on the supernal channel session on Friday on the 1111 portal, we kind of opened up the conversation, the question, what do we need to pay attention to in these 40 days? This 40-day flood is here. And what we pulled in was through our supernal channels. So there was different clues, there were different ideas. I'm going to share a few of them. But first, I want to tell you a little bit share a little bit of a personal story about my supernal channel, because it's I'm not like comparing myself to Noah, but the experience is similar. In what is coming through are these visions, are these knowings that come through, and I'm like, oh, I don't even know, like that's so, I don't know, like what is this? And all of a sudden I'm starting to see things in my physical reality. So I have two things I want to share with you. A couple of actually, I think Bud, my husband, left Saranda maybe 4 weeks ago now, about a month ago. And 2 days after he left, I was taking the dogs up for a walk on my little hilltop, mountaintop place. And Priya has this collar that the clip sometimes is a little funky, and when they mess around, when the dogs mess around, it'll sometimes come off. And of course, 2 days after Bud left, that thing came off, and that's how we kind of keep track of her, because she'll go up the hillside and sniff around, and you can hear the dingle dangle of her collar. Well, I got all the way back, almost back down to the house that day, and I noticed the collar had come off, and I was like, oh God, I don't want to have to climb back. It's a straight hill, straight walk up. I didn't want to do it. So I was like, I'll look for it tomorrow, because I'm pretty much the only person I think that goes up there. If anyone else goes up there, it's only maybe one person a day. besides me. No one goes up there. That's why I love it. That's why I go there by myself. So I went back up the other day, and where I walk, there's a pathway that's, it's a trail, it's a pathway. It's pretty, obvious. And then straight down is basically hill and rocks, and we don't go down that way because it's very uncomfortable. And then it goes straight up the hill to the very, very top. But we don't really go up there. The dogs will kind of go up there a little bit. But the day that they were messing around so much when she lost the collar, they were super like rambunctious, and they were running all over the place. And so I went up. As I walked up the next day, I was scanning, I scanned the whole trail all the way up, all the way back. And didn't see the collar. And when I get to the end of the little pathway, there's this big pile of rocks, and there's, two big stones, and I'll sit on this stone. A couple days later, this stone was just gone, like just gone. And it's not a stone. It was a big rock. And I went to put the leashes down, and I was like, what the hell? Like, how could that rock just be gone? So I was like, well, it's a glitch. Just like has to be a glitch, because if anyone else goes up there, why in the world would they like try to pick up this massive rock? It's not massive, but it's big enough where it would like hurt your back probably if you tried to lift it. So it was just weird. But 30 days, 35 days or so since he's been gone, every single day I'm like, well, how can I not find this collar? It's not that big of a space that they go to. And I walked up the hillside. So I kind of came to the point where maybe it got lost on the hillside, and it kind of got into a craggy spot. But the fact that I hadn't found it, I did, ask my guides. I'm like, and for me, I still go back to St. Anthony from my days of growing up as a Catholic. I still trust St. Anthony because he's never let me down. I'm like, dear St. Anthony, please come around. Something's been lost and cannot be found. And St. Anthony has never let me down. But after 35 days, I'm like, St. Anthony, man, come on. So one day last week, I think it was about Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, I walked up there, and I was just done. I was done with life. I was, just feeling that Mayday energy. That's why Mayday came up in for that Thursday's peace talks, because I was just like, I'm floating here. I'm feeling really lost. I don't know, like, how I'm going to survive. I don't know how I'm going to get out of Saranda. I've shared that story. And I went up to the rock up there my new rock that I sit on. And I just demanded. I had a prayer rampage, and I just said, I demand to see what I can't see. I demand my consciousness in this last year and a half has expanded so much. I demand to start seeing that reflected in my reality. I have done a lot of work, as all of my friends have, and I am ready to see the expansiveness of my consciousness now come into my reality. I demand to know how I'm getting out. I demand to know the evacuation plan. I demand to know. I deserve to know. I am worthy of knowing. I have this expansive consciousness. It is time for me to know something. I demand it. And so when I was done, I was like, I could feel the energy just coming and coming and coming. And I sat there for a minute, and the dogs were messing around, and I was like, all right, you guys ready to go back down for breakfast? And I got up, and I literally took 3 steps and looked down, and that collar was sitting right in the middle of the pathway. And y'all, I just stopped, and I just looked down, and I went, oh my God. Oh my God. And there was no way after 35 days I had missed it that many times. It was right exactly. There's this one little dirt patch, because a lot of it's rocky around there. And it's the one little dirt patch that they both, like the dogs can get, they can get a good grip when they mess around. So they play on there all the time. And they have never, I watched them, that collar has not been there. And my demand was, I demand to see everything that has been concealed. I demand to have revealed all that's been concealed that I can't see yet, that illuminates my pathway. And literally 5 minutes later, this collar is at my feet. I couldn't believe it. And as I picked it up, I finally like got myself together and I picked it up and I was walking, and I literally was in another world at that point because of all the energy that I brought through, and then finding it just like took me completely to another realm. And I simply just I knew that there was another dimension. So just bear with me here, bear with me, because I know this is going to sound to the mind, it can be like, oh, this girl's lost her mind. But what's happening now in this in this portal energy is, and we're in between the lunar eclipse, the full moon lunar eclipse on the 8th, and this 1111 portal. That's when I found this collar. So there's a lot of like manifestation, organizational energy that's coming together. This is what this 40-day flood, the opportunity it has for us. So when I was walking back down the path, I knew that there was some kind of shift that happened, that all of a sudden I was taken into a realm where I was able to see that color. That color has been there. It has been there, but I had to be in the frequency to see it. Prior to that, I've been low. I've been like barely freaking surviving, it feels like. I've been lost. And I go up there, yes, to walk the dog so they can get some energy out, but for me to be in a silent space to just sit and commune, to come up a little bit. And that day I came up and was in a different frequency to be able to see it. And I recognized that opportunity at hand. Since then, I have been only, as best I can, focusing on that which I want to see. What do I want to see? This is what's really, really important for these next few these 40 days, 40 days ish. I'm going to call it 40 days because that's about what it is between the 11/11 portal and the 21st of December, the solstice. Okay, there's so much happening in here. There's going to be 2 timelines that are playing out in these 40 days. There's going to be, what did I call it? Hold on. I just called it the old timeline. I thought I had a name for it. Some other name came out. I didn't write it down. So there's going to be the inverted matrix timeline, right? That's going to be the timeline that's fueled by fear. It's going. So if you imagine like this tidal wave, right? It looks like this. Underneath here is going to be the timeline that's fueled by fear, right? So all of this timeline is going to be like when you're underneath a wave, it tosses and turns you, it slams you into the bottom, onto the coral. You come up bloodied and scraped up, and it's going to turn you. Okay. And there's going to be a lot of people that are in that, because we still know that there's a lot of people that are operating in fear, that are, operating in victimhood, that are operating in anxiety, that are watching what's happening in the world outside of them and thinking that they are a victim of it. The other timeline is riding the wave. These are the ones that are directing their path. These are the Noahs of these 40 days. They are listening to the supernal channel. They are hearing you are safe. They are hearing here's what direction you're going to go. They are hearing and pulling in new insights and new ideas. They are okay bringing in information that is unknown to them, just like Noah did, like building an ark. Okay, I'll build a boat. But we are building our 5D, our heaven on earth. We are each bringing in new knowledge, and we know what that is for. It's something for something higher than us, something bigger than us. We may not completely have the whole puzzle like Noah did. He didn't have it. He just got the information and said, okay. So we are going to be on the higher end, the top end of this tsunami, listening as these things come in and just saying yes, even though it's unknown where it's taking us, because we just trust this supernal channel, the information, the data that comes in. And in our gathering space in Storehouse Social, we're each sharing what we're getting, because what you see on your perspective can help me see something more. Just in the conversation that we've had in Storehouse Social, from me posting the Supernal Channel session, I have gotten more. Someone else came in that wasn't even on the session and said, "Oh, I just listened. Here's what I got. Here's what this symbol means to me." And I was like, "Oh, I took something from that." So by communally coming together and sharing trusting what's coming in, we can all be on that higher timeline, because we know we know enough now. The higher timeline is taking us to be able to see and reveal that which is coming into formation into our heaven on earth. And these next 40 days have the ability to feed and nurture the building, the creation of our heaven on earth. Or it has the ability to just drown us. So at the end of the 40 days, people are going to be dead in the water, just spent, because they've been tumbled in fear and surprise and victimhood and all of the yuck. We have to rise above it, and we have to come together as a community to do that. Again, we're doing that in Storehouse Social. I'm not doing it on Instagram. I'm not, because this isn't for everybody. Not everybody's going to, not everybody's going to get it. And B, not all of you will share, because it's a vulnerable space. So I want a private space for us to come together and feel comfortable sharing this. So here's another thing that happened too. I'm going to share something that came through my Supernal channel last night when I slept. And I will tell you, it's kind of a funny story, but there's something to it, y'all. There's something to it where I'm like, I got to share this. It sounds so crazy. I went for a walk last night, took the normal walk, came back. It was around 8:30, and I was so tired. So I just decided to go to bed. My internal alarm clock always gets me up around 6 o'clock. It's basically when it starts to get, light here. And I like to just sit for a minute before, I take the dogs for the big walk up the hill. And, but this morning, all of a sudden I woke up and it was 8:15. And I thought, oh my God, it's like, I've slept for like 12 hours. And it was a really, really deep sleep. And typically I don't dream too much. I used to dream a lot more, but in this last year and a half, I don't dream too much. But last night, I had a really, really vivid dream, and it was, it was so real. It was almost tangible, and it was really realistic. So you know how like sometimes you'll dream and it'll be like someone's in your dream and you're like, oh, I know that to be like my dad, but it doesn't look like your dad in the dream, or your house, but it doesn't look like your house. This dream, I was in Saranda here, looked just like this, and I was picked up on a helicopter, and I had the dogs with me. They were both at my feet, and they were both looking at me, and they looked nervous, but I was super excited, because in my dream, I knew it was my evacuation. And I've talked about this, so y'all will know. Otherwise, you can go back and look at the peace talks. But I was so excited because I was being evacuated, and I was on a helicopter. So the dogs were looking at me like, what, like, this is thing scary, but mom's like pretty having a good time. So they knew not to like freak out. So I was like, it's all good. It's all good. We're getting out of here. So this helicopter, as we're flying away, I look out, I'm looking at Saranda, and I could see that what I knew to be, I mean, I couldn't feel it obviously, but I knew that there was an earthquake that was happening, because I saw a bunch of the buildings that were falling. And I was just like thinking, I wasn't panicking. I was just like, oh my gosh, I've seen this. And Bud and I have talked a lot about all the growth. If you look at pictures of Saranda in the 70s, it's pretty crazy how much growth. It was like this, there was nothing here. So I can understand now. I have understood how the people have really kind of, I think, kind of like died inside. I always say like a lot of the people here just have dead eyes, and especially the older people. And when I see pictures of the 70s and even the 80s, I saw a picture of 1985 Saranda. And I mean, that's like my lifetime, and how much this place has grown. And the worst part is they put up all of these condo buildings, right? So they build one here, and then there's this lot here, and they'll build one right in front. So like they don't even care that they take somebody's like view, they just, and so then now this building's staring at the back of another building. And Bud and I are just like, oh my God, like how do you do that? Like just we can see how much this land has been defiled in the hopes of being something that they're not yet ready to be. They want to be this huge like draw in on the Riviera, but they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the intelligence yet to be that. So they just keep building these buildings. I mean, y'all know I've been talking about this jackhammering going on. And I was like, they need to just destroy, like half of the buildings, and they still have plenty for what they need at the moment, but just take down some of the it's just too much. So in my dream, like half of the buildings were falling, and I was like, perfect, that's exactly what needs to happen. And yet I also knew that like there were probably people that were being hurt or whatever, but I wasn't panicked about it. I was just like, exactly what needs to happen is happening. And we fly away and we go and we land on an aircraft carrier. I don't remember much, but feeling like it was kind of cool that I was an aircraft carrier. And at one point I was in the command center, and I'm like, this is pretty cool. I'm in the command center. So like, I don't know what the conversation was. I don't remember, but I remember being like, I'm pretty important because I'm in this command center. And then at the end of the dream, it ended with me getting a Medal of Honor. And so it was kind of funny. So anyway, I woke up from from that dream, and I was like so disoriented when I woke up after 12 hours and this like really really intense dream. I was like I was disoriented when I woke up. So we went for a walk, came back, got breakfast for the dogs and myself, was sitting here, and the jackhammering's going on, and all of a sudden the jackhammering stops. And as soon as it stops, my whole nervous system goes, and next thing I know, I hear there's a helicopter. I heard a helicopter. I've only heard one helicopter. I've seen only one helicopter in the 10 months I've been here in Saranda. And it was just during the summer, and I could see it because Saranda's on a horseshoe. I'm over here, and the hospital's over here. So I saw the helicopter land on top of the hospital during the summer, and it was really cool to watch. But it was like one of the red medical helicopters. So the jackhammering stops. I hear a helicopter. I'm like, oh my God, I just like dreamed of a helicopter. This is crazy. So I go out there looking at it, watching it, flies off, and it's a military helicopter. And I was like, they're coming for me, my evacuation. It's like my dream's coming true. My dream's coming into reality. Well, I'm still here, but and it flew over the building here, and it like rumbled the whole building. It was the coolest thing. But I was like, gosh, it's so weird though that I had that dream and the helicopter is there, and it like flew right over me, and it was a military helicopter. There's something to it. There are no coincidences, right? So, I kind of laughed it off, and I came back here, and a little bit later I was on Instagram, and somebody emailed me or sent me a message on Instagram, and she sent me a link. But the link was, it was that thing where like it says this post has been taken down, so I couldn't click on it. But right under it, she said, "What's happening in Albania?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. And I was like, oh my God, there's an earthquake, something. So I asked her, I was like, why did you ask? What was that post about? I was just really curious because, all of a sudden she's like, what's happened? And she's in Canada. So she saw something that was happening in Albania. And I was curious with how that linked to my dream. All of this to say, these coincidences are happening. There is this merging now. These messages, these dreams, these requests that we are having, that we are being called to express. Here's what I want, my intention. My intention, when I say my intention, the third eye, not the mind. Here's my intention for my heaven on earth. This coming through here is coming from your supernal channel. These are not made up intentions. All of a sudden, we're like, I want the house and the this and the that. We are getting clearer and clearer visions or messages, insights, illuminations on what our heaven on earth is formulating to be. It's coming through as intentions. And when our heart expands and we push it out, now it's starting to push out into reality. When I was having that dream, I was excited because I've talked about the evacuation. I don't get the sense that it's going to be commercial, and it might be, whatever it is. But I was so expanded. I was like, this is the coolest way to get out of here, on a helicopter and then on an aircraft carrier. And then I get a Medal of Honor. So no matter what it was, I was all about it. And my dogs were with me. And then I woke up and there was a helicopter in my reality. There's something happening in Albania. I don't know what it was. She hasn't responded. But all of that to say, there's an organization that's starting to happen, and it's coming. And then finding the caller, there's an organization that's rising us up, that's giving us the opportunity to get on top of this tsunami. And as long as we keep our insights, our intentions, our feelings on what we want and what we are creating, and paying attention to what's coming through these supernal channels, we are going to ride this wave. And I firmly believe we are going to be seeing more and more coincidences that then start to link together to create the pathway, to illuminate the pathway to into 2023, which next year I do believe we are going to see a lot of our heavens on earth come starting to make a lot of sense. But we are just now, like I've talked about, the little sprouts are coming up. We've already sown the seeds. The little sprouts are coming up now, and this tsunami is going to just pour forth the energy for those rooted sprouts to start growing and growing. And what that's going to look like in practicality is we are going to start seeing little bits and pieces of these what has been intentions or insights. We're going to start seeing those come into our reality. I'm sharing these weird, crazy stories with you because I believe it's already starting to happen with the energies that we're in. So we really have to pay attention to, are we on top? Are we like Noah, being like having faith in wherever this thing is taking me? Because even when he got on that ark, I'm going to imagine that the waters were quite choppy. He couldn't steer an ark through, through a flood like that, so the biblical flood that we know of. He just had to have faith that I built this ark and he did a great job, and it was going to take him to wherever it took him. That is what we have to have faith in this 40-day flood of energy, because this 40-day flood is taking us closer to our heaven on earth. But it might get uncomfortable at times. It might get a little scary. But as long as we don't get underneath and let it the fear churn in us, we just stay on top and just keep going through it. Keep walking through fear. We will be okay. We will be on the other side of this. We will be okay. We know that. We just have to have faith in these 40 days that we will be okay. So when a helicopter shows up here and says, we're going to take you out, will there be a little bit of fear? Probably. Will I get on? Yes. When the opportunity arises for me to finally get on some kind of vehicle transport of some sort to get me and these dogs out of this physical reality that I'm in, to transport me to another physical reality, will there be some fear? Will there be discomfort? Yes. I don't want them to be afraid. I will probably be a little bit nervous, but I will walk through fear in perfect peace. I will keep myself in perfect peace so I can stay connected and open to my supernal channel, to be able to be navigated in that dimensional reality where I can see what has been concealed. I won't be able to see that as long as I'm in fear, because I will be in a lower dimensional reality where I can't see the collar, where I can't see the pathway, I can't see the way. So whatever the way is, we have got to stay in that 0 point peaceful state to be able to be fully communicated, fully connected. And so, and above the tsunami, looking down, being like, okay, I see what direction it's going. I'm in peace, I'm in calm, and I'm going to ride this wave. It's really, really important. So this is the message for today. The 40-day flood has begun. And which timeline are you going to be on? Okay. So let's go look, like, see what you guys are doing. Kat says, good morning. Hold on. Go put my glasses. Do glasses go over the bandana or underneath? Because then my ears could pop out. Okay. Mom says, watch the replay of 1111 Supernal Portal. Great conversation and took tons of notes. Good. This was a very healing experience that allowed me to expand. So grateful. Kat was on the Supernal Portal, Supernal channel session. Sorry. I say the exact same St. Anthony prayer as my mama taught me. Well, yeah, my mom and I are always like, just pray to St. Anthony. she does the same thing. Mom says, Kat, me too. My husband, who is not a spiritual person, one day said to me, can you pray that to that guy you pray to and ask him to help me find so-and-so? And he's now a believer. I'll tell you what, St. Anthony always comes through. He always comes through quicker, though. I had to practice patience with him. I'm like, St. Anthony, what are you doing? But you know what? The patience was, he was waiting for me to come up to his level to be like, now you got the eyes from like the same eyes that I can see. Like, he was probably the whole time being like, it's right there. The collar's right. You step over it every day. But I just didn't have the eyes to see it. And I think, was it Tarla? One of us was saying, you know, our prayer just keeps being, just give me the eye, give me new eyes to see, give me new eyes to see what I can't see right now. Because remember, our eyes are only seeing 1%. So as our consciousness expands, we just keep asking for give me new eyesight, give me new eyes to see what my expanded consciousness can now tune into. Because we have at our disposal now, with our consciousnesses that are expanded and all of the healing and the density work that we have done, we have so much more at our disposal to see. Okay. And I'm saying that for myself. I need to hear myself say this too, because I keep seeing the same thing every day. And I'm like, why am I not seeing anything else? Because I'm resisting what I'm seeing. I get up every day. I'm like, damn it, I'm still here. My helicopter didn't come. But that is resistance. That is a form of putting myself underneath the turmoil of the tsunami. That is not being in peace. That is not being connected. So this is what I'm talking about. It is like these subtle ways in which we get underneath the wave are so tricky, because they just are how it's the old programming. So every time I find myself there, I rise back up. Give me new, and then I do that simply through what I call prayer. Give me new eyes to see. Or I do the practice that I shared, or actually it's not my practice, but we talked about it on the Supernal Channel session. You know, taking deep breath in, saying, I breathe in the light of the Creator. Hold. I embody the light of the Creator. I expand the light of the Creator. Hold at the bottom. I project the light of the Creator. Do a couple of those breaths, takes you out from being underneath the tsunami, puts you back on top, gives you new eyes to see, puts you back in peace. That is our job. That is our only role in these 40 days, is to stay connected. And the holy breath, and Kat shared 4 seconds in to breathe in the light, 4 seconds holding to embody the light, 4 seconds exhaling to expand the light, for another 4-second hold to project the light. And if we keep doing that, that is the portal of the holy breath. That is the portal that takes us up on top of the tsunami again. Okay? That is our work. That is our job. That is it. If we just do that, y'all, in communal connection, We will ride this wave, and we will ride ourselves into the next, into the next year, 2023. And we will just simply be celebrating one thing after another as we watch all of our intentions come into reality. I know it. I know it. KM said, I had a dream that I climbed to the top of a mountain and there was a circular flap for an exit point. Ooh, I was looking back down to earth, then flipping into another place. Oh, cool. Yeah. There's something to these dreams. There's something. If you're not having dreams, no worries. But they're coming into, like, they're coming, things are happening, and there's a lot in these dreams. There's a lot of energy. I know after 12 hours of sleep, waking up really disoriented like I was, i I knew there was a lot of stuff that happened overnight. So there's a lot of calibration, and there's a lot of reconfiguring going on within us as we sleep. What are you saying? What you're saying resonates deeply. But yeah, thanks, KM or K. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's just something really magical. It's beyond our mind. The other thing that we came up with on the Supernal channel is, the word unforgettable came up, and we talked about like different perceptions of unforgettable. But one of the things that really resonated with me is unforgettable can come from growth that just blows your mind right open, where you were like, I will never forget this moment. Like that's that kind of revelation that comes in, and you're like, I will never forget this moment. It's unforgettable because it just blows our minds. That's also what I believe that we can expect when we ride the wave up on top. These unforgettable moments, these unforgettable experiences, like that. Finding that collar just sounds like, and here's what I said that last week. We talked about, revelations and things that'll happen. Or if I just tell you the story, like I lost a collar and I found the collar after I prayed, like, okay. But in that moment, there was such an energy that rushed through, and that energy was not, it was something much, much bigger than me. It was something much bigger coming in saying, do you see? Do you see what just happened? This is your power. This is your essence. This is what you can create at any given moment. I could have found that collar the day I lost it, or the day after when I went up. But didn't have the eyes to see. In any moment, we have the ability, we have the power to create the flow of energy with our words, with our emotions. Just like I did. I was like, I demand to see what I did. And it wasn't like I demand it. It was, I kept going until I could feel the energy just coming through. Like my voice was rising. There was no one around, so I wasn't all like worried about people hearing me. And I was just, I went from like angry. I was like, I am tired of hearing this. I got it all out. Like I got all the yucky stuff out. I am tired of feeling like I'm floating here. I'm tired of feeling invisible. I'm tired of feeling like nobody can hear me. Like my supernal channel is closed and I know it's not. And then I got it all out. And then I was like, you know what? Here's what I know. I know how powerful I am. I know that I am the creator. I am a unique expression of the creator. I am my I am presence, and I connect into the I am presence of every man, woman, and child, because every single one of us knows that we have this power. And what I demand is for the light to just take over, wash out everything that is stopping me from seeing everything that I want to see and everything that every human wants to see. I demand to see peace. I demand to see a love wave. I don't give a shit about a red wave or a blue wave around this our country. I care about a light wave around the whole damn planet, and I demand to see it. I demand in my lifetime to see this planet at peace. That was it, y'all. Like I went off, and then I got it all out, and then I got it all out, the intention. And so by the time I was done, I was vibrating at a completely different, powerful place. And we have the ability, and that's when I found the collar. We have the ability to be that, do that. And I will tell you, the energy of carrying it, I got back here after finding that collar, and I had to take a nap because it was like such a big, like power surge. So I had to take a nap to embody it, to integrate it. Okay. And all day on Friday on the 1111 portal, I was doing that kind of stuff too all day because I wanted everything to go into this portal. So that's the other thing, that as we ride this wave, we just keep pouring into passion, all the things we want to see in the world, all the things that are part of our heaven on earth, all the things that we want to invest our power and our resources in. So this is where we can create that light wave. This 40 days of flooding, so to speak, energetic flooding, this is our power source. We just keep throwing stuff in and it just washes away across the planet. So it's got to be from a place of love and from passion and from peace and from those higher realms of intelligence. This is where we get to show our intelligence. Thank you for letting me share my crazy stories and my dreams and helicopters and aircraft carriers and medals of honor. There's I don't know what it's all about, but I liked it. It was fun, and and it was even more fun to see a helicopter show up and someone be like, "What's going on in Albania?" After I saw like earthquakes happening here. So thank you. This is a flood of information, a flood of energy I just threw at you because I can feel it coming out, but it's not like diarrhea kind of energy. This is my light and my passion for what we are entering into right now. And my passion is to continue this and to support each other to stay on top of the wave. So if you're not already in Storehouse Social, please send me. I don't want to post it out here because I want to keep it private and intimate and safe. So just send me an email, connect@videttemeyer.com, or send me a private message or something, however you want to reach out, and I will send you the link to find us, because I think we've got a pretty powerful little incubator going on in there. So let's continue to spread the light and be the light. So much love to you all. I'll see you on the next Peace Talks. Mwah. Have a good one.